This is Carrigan and Company. You know, folks, I've known the College Hype team for more than 20 years. They're a local screen print and embroidery company servicing the New England area and beyond. Now, what makes the team so special is that they have more than 35 years of experience and they do all the work in-house. I love their tagline, making a difference one t-shirt at a time. Speaking from experience, I know that is the truth. Learn more at collegehype.com. Hi, everybody. It's me, Kim, and it's a new year, and we have a new episode of Carrigan and Company.
Carrigan and Company is here for you. Yes, Carrigan and Company is here for you.
Welcome, everybody, to Carrigan and Company, and Happy New Year. It is so good to be with you in the new year, and we're getting started with a bang this year. I am so happy to be welcoming my co-host today. This is, I'm going to call him one of the godfathers of comedy in the Boston area, and I mean that in a positive way.
Sure. It means I'm still alive. That's all that means, sure.
Oh, Tony V is with me today.
Yeah.
You know what? You were just reading something, and you said that it said about you're a veteran in the world of comedy, and I thought to myself, is that a term you really want somebody to use?
No.
I know. It's so people say that
the
about
one
me.
I love is legend. This guy's a legend.
Yeah,
really.
Right.
This is what we all look like. You should see the meetings. Yeah.
I want everybody at home to know, and those of you who are listening and can't see this, I want you to know that Tony came today in the most fabulous shirt that's ever been made and didn't call ahead to let me know that he was trying to outshine me here on the set.
You know, you're not going to find a lot of men of my age range wearing a corduroy pink shirt. You're not going to find it. No, you just don't do it.
You know what it takes? It takes a legend.
It takes a legend. This is a legendary shirt. Him, you couldn't be any more right about that. Yeah.
Hey, Happy New Year. Good to see you.
Nice to be here. Thanks for having me. I am not often invited anywhere.
Oh, I don't believe that.
I'm happy to be among you. Do you do any of that? Resolution goals. What are your goals?
I do.
Yeah.
I do every year. Everybody who knows me knows this because I blast it from the highest mountain every year.
What is it?
I do dry January every year.
Really?
Yep. I'm how many days in? 7.
7. How's that going?
Well,
Yeah.
Now
that
I've gotten rid of all the family, so that's a good thing.
That's good. Right. The reasons why you might want to not do dry January.
That's why I don't do dry December.
Right. No, you couldn't. Oh, that's insane. But it's dry in terms of alcohol. Yeah. You can hydrate.
Yeah.
You can drink water and soda.
Yeah. I do not turn into a camel.
Right. That's what I'm saying. It's not like you're guzzling 5 gallons on New Year's Eve going, I hope I make it to the end.
Right.
No.
There are 31 days, right?
That's a lot. Yeah.
That's a long haul.
You would be very...
I don't do it because I think I have an alcohol issue. That's not it. I do it just because I just love the idea of reset. January to me is a reset.
Yeah.
So I sort of reset that. I reset a few other things. What about you?
Mine, this is what I've decided for this year. I've quit bending over.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm done. I don't have to prove to anyone I can bend over.
Yes.
I have a closet full of Skechers slip-ons, and I will never bend over again.
Well, congratulations to you.
I have a monkey to help me with my socks. I got a sock monkey,
Fantastic.
and he travels with me.
Fantastic.
He's not with me now because I got my socks on.
You've already got them on.
Yeah, but that's...
Is he involved in dry January?
No, you can't keep that monkey away from the bottle. You don't want to get between that monkey and a bottle of Jack. No.
I know some other monkeys who feel the exact same way, if that makes you feel any better.
Yeah, sure.
A serious note about that, you and I were talking about this before we got on the air, but I mean, we're laughing about it, and I don't want you to be offended. You are a legend when it comes to comedy here in the Boston area, not just in Boston, across the country. A man who has been involved in some incredible movies, shows across the country, and fundraising like nobody's business. And we'll get to all of that. But in all seriousness, a guy who has been around the business for a long time, like some of my other friends like Lenny Clark, you guys do appreciate the idea that cutting back on alcohol is okay. That's a tough thing for comedians.
It is. I mean, we have a lot of people in our circle that took the pledge, as we used to say. And, because early on, we were left up to our own devices. And I tell this story all the time, and when I tell it, it sounds like I'm bragging about it, but this just gives you a flavor of what it was like. We used to do the Ding Ho Comedy Club in Inman Square, and the shows ran Tuesday through Sunday, and Monday was dark. And then when we'd close the doors on Sunday, would go play cards or whatever in the back room. Mm-hmm. And one night we were back there and we're horsing around and playing cards and having a little party or whatever. And then the next thing I know, someone taps me on the shoulder, literally, and goes, "Tony, you're on." And I go, "What are you talking about? It's Monday." They go, "It's Tuesday night."
Oh, wow!
Yeah, so we had missed Monday completely. Yeah, completely, and most of Tuesday. So it was around then we all started going, we might want to give this a second thought.
We want to make it to next Monday. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Well, you know what? I mean, I can't imagine when I think about it. I mean, there's just a few industries where you're so exposed to this kind of life, I mean, that being one of them.
Yeah,
I think if you're a bar owner, you're someone who's exposed to that kind of thing. I mean, it's a nightclub world.
Yeah, we're in a nightclub. And they're part of their business is to sell alcohol, and we're around it all the time.
Of course.
It's easily available, but, God bless anyone who can... we're
not criticizing
moderation.
Yeah, absolutely.
If people can I've never experienced it, but I understand it's a thing, and God bless you if you can handle it.
Well, I also think when I think about this, and you tell me, I think this is also a comic's personality. Let me go even back further a little bit here. I was talking to my producer, and I was saying, I didn't know this about Tony. Tony came out of school and started his life as a caseworker, a social worker.
I was a social worker. Yeah. I was working on my MSW at the Harvard Extension School. Yep. I didn't go to Harvard. Let's not start that rumor. But they had it, through I worked at the Cambridge Somerville Mental Health Center, and I was doing that and working closely with schools. I had started a couple of programs in the Somerville Housing Project to have treatment closer to home where it was needed. And it was all going along, and then this happened.
Right, and I think there's something in your personality that is very different than the guy who stands up there and makes me laugh so hard, or sits right next to me here and makes me laugh so hard.
I mean, and I think that flavors what I do. I mean, I like to bring that part of me into what I do. I don't think of my comedy as hard scrabble and sort of pointed as a lot of comedians.
Right.
I think mine's a little. It's not for everybody, is what I'm saying.
Well, I think it's maybe a little bit more about the human condition.
Yeah, it's more about how I perceive life and what I believe to be the goal.
Yeah. What is the goal?
To get to the end and try to figure it out. I have one. We're not very reverent about even that. My demise or whatever, and I have one last request, and my son is in on this.
Okay.
When I die, I want my entire funeral procession to drive through a car wash. Because I think that'd be funny. Because think about it, every car has to follow the one in front of it.
Absolutely.
With no questions asked.
You're right. So and once you're in, you're in.
You're in, right. There's no getting out of the line. So that by the time car like 8 or 10, and I'm assuming there'll be that many, get to the front of the line, the hearse will be coming out of the car wash.
There you go.
And a grieving human will have to turn to some other grieving human and go, are we going through a car wash?
Is this for real?
He did it, didn't he? That's and if we have any consciousness on the other side, I'll just be laughing. That's all.
You'll have consciousness on the other side.
Yeah.
I know you will.
Yeah, I will. I don't know about anybody else. I will. Yeah.
I ask this to every comedian who sits next to me, and I'm lucky enough to chat with. What's funny to you?
I'm one of those guys who thinks that. Just shy of tragedy is funny. You know, it's
like going through a car wash.
Like going through a car wash to your death. I think that's funny. You know, and I try to get to that line without crossing it.
Yeah.
You know, there are some things I won't touch, but you know, I have a joke currently in my act now where I talk about my mother. Who I loved, of course. I go, and she lived to be 94, which is a nice long run. I
Yes,
said,
it is.
You know, oddly, she died in a skateboarding accident. You know, she was 94. She forgot she had never been on a skateboard.
Yeah, she forgot she was 94.
Right. I go, I guess we could have said something, but sometimes it's just worth the laugh.
I love it. That's great. You know what I love about, to me, a great comedian is not necessarily one who uses a lot of foul language. Little foul language never hurt anybody, that's for sure, but not a lot, and you don't have to get crude. I like people who walk right up to the line just like that.
Yeah,
I think that's fine. And the human condition.
Yeah.
I mean, you know what?
Yeah.
Every day is really comedy if you look around.
It really. I mean, listen. You either subscribe to, you know, you fall prey to the world, or you laugh at it.
That's it.
You know, and,
You're so right.
We choose to go like, it's absurd. We didn't ask for this. We're just pointing it out.
Right. Exactly. That's it. We're just pointing it out.
Yeah.
What do you think about young comedians today? I mean, comedy, you know, to me, there's like two generations of comics.
Right.
There's yours.
Yep.
And then there's these really young people who are coming in. There's like some sort of nothing in between to me.
I
don't know. They all went.
their youth.
Yeah.
No. You know, all you can do when you look at somebody who is, you know, maybe not exactly where you were, but in terms of their journey, all you can go is enjoy the ride.
Yep.
Because I often say this, that whatever happens in my career or my life, I couldn't pay. I don't have enough money to pay for the entertainment I've given myself with the idiots that I know.
Yeah.
you know, I mean, you mentioned Lenny Clark and Jimmy Dunn has done this show. I mean, just think of sitting in a room with those guys and you just laugh uncontrollably.
Yeah. Well, I've sat right here with them and felt just like I feel with you right now, that, you know, if we could turn everything off, I'd say things that I probably shouldn't say.
We all would. I mean, this is what I'm saying. You know, if you get us in a room and there's no recordings on, we would all go to jail for what we say.
I feel confident that's true. Hey, speaking of those guys, you were just telling me about this really cool nut. I know Lenny's involved. I don't know what the Jimmy is, but this really cool, you know, Jimmy, he's a big TV star.
Oh, so, you know, he's on please.
So we have to be very reverent.
Oh, yes, of course.
But you were telling me about a fantastic thing you guys have been doing over on Nesson. So tell me about that.
There's a show on Nesson called Building a Boston Sports Team. And it's the Boston group, the Fenway group and everything. And they're trying to launch a indoor stadium golf league. Rory McIlroy and Tiger Woods is involved and all of that. So an old buddy of ours who works for the Golf Channel, France Alameda, started as a comedian here. He's now a producer director with them. Had this idea where they're doing a documentary on building this stadium golf league, and you get the idea that they think it might not be the smartest thing they've ever done. I don't know that for a fact, but that's the hint I got of it.
Yeah.
So they got a round table of comedians to sort of voice our opinion on what we think about it. And
I'm sure all of you thought it was a fabulous idea and are investing your money.
Yes. Oh, we ran. All my Bitcoin is going that way. Sure. Yeah. Yeah. So so they're doing this documentary, and then they'll cut to us at a round table dumping on it. I think the last episode, their stadium fell down. It was a bubble.
Yes.
So I said, you know,
it's going so well.
It's going so well that they had to postpone it because the wind blew their stadium down.
I thought you were going to say somebody hit a golf ball through that.
That would have made it funnier, Kim. Oh, that's good. Yeah, I go. You know what they need is a giant bouncy castle. That's all.
Exactly.
That would be better.
Exactly.
Sure.
I actually saw. I was just watching somebody interviewing Rory about this.
Yeah,
and he, you know, it's on a simulator. It's going to be like on a simulator.
You hit into a screen.
Yes.
And then...
and I think you do have to be pretty good. I mean, like, they're not asking me to be part of the league. Let's just
Yeah,
be,
no.
You know. And I don't know if they've asked you, Tony. Maybe they
No, they haven't.
Okay. Well,
they'd have to put woods up on the screen.
So you can hit a few trees.
Yeah, so I can hit a few trees. Yeah, it's not golf unless I hear that distinctive knock of ball hitting woods.
Right.
Yeah.
I need people.
Yeah, and then there's like a sand trap. If you go in a sand trap, there's a real sand trap, and then there's one green, and they use the term undulating.
Oh.
Which I don't think I've ever said that word in my life.
I'm not sure I can repeat it.
I don't. Right. It has a connotation of it doesn't come up a lot, is what I'm saying.
It does not.
But so it
moves.
Pivots,
right,
or whatever. So it's a different green every time, and I go, "It's the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life." But anyway, they're kicking it off, and they have this 5-part series, and we're part of it.
I love it. I love it. So that's on Nest, and that's on Mondays. So
Monday
make sure you
nights,
check that out, folks, because that's a lot of fun. And if you've thought that this indoor golf league is a little strange, this will put a new twist on it for sure.
Indoor golf.
Hey, we got a great show. I'm so glad you're here.
We do. We're having a ball so far.
Good.
Is it always this easy?
Yeah, actually, it really is.
I'm glad.
I mean, how tough is it to just sit around and talk about stuff you want to talk about, right?
I know.
Is there anything you want to talk about in 2025?
You know what? Someday we got to do is just make fun of the people walking by, because we got this big fishbowl of a window here, and there are people walking by, and they don't know that magic is happening.
I know.
6 feet from them.
So we're down at the Garden. As you go into North Station, we tell our listeners and our viewers this all the time. I was watching as we just got started. There was like about 6 women outside the window, and they were all pointing at you. I think it was your shirt.
Oh, maybe that's it. They're jealous of my pink shirt.
They were going, only a legend can wear a shirt like that.
Yep.
A pink corduroy shirt.
Yep. I want to. This is how I think. When I found this shirt, I go, I want to find the person who made this.
I wouldn't blame
because you'd go like, who would wear that?
And the person would say, a fabulous person like you.
Tony V would do
I love it.
Sure.
It's great. Hey, listen, we got a lot more show.
We do.
Yep. But we have sponsors, and we have to, you know how that goes.
Let's pay the bills.
We got to pay the bills first, and then when we come back, we are going to have the Latina Martha Stewart joining us. You ready for that?
Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't know there was one.
Well, now you do. This is Carrigan and Company. You know, folks, I've known the College Hype team for more than 20 years. They're a local screen print and embroidery company servicing the New England area and beyond. Now, what makes the team so special is that they have more than 35 years of experience, and they do all the work in-house. I love their tagline, making a difference one t-shirt at a time. Speaking from experience, I know that is the truth. Learn more at collegehype.com. This segment of Carrigan and Company is brought to you by Lucia Lighting and Design, where people in the know go for the best possible lighting and design experience. Welcome back, everybody, to Carrigan and Company. Keeping me company today, Tony V.
I'm still here.
I know. I'm so glad you're still here.
This is the longest I've ever stayed anywhere without getting thrown out.
Well, you're not getting thrown out of here, not yet anyway.
Right.
I need your help, that's for sure. Okay, let me ask you something.
Yes.
DIY, do you do it yourself?
I do.
You do?
Yes, I do.
What do you do?
I'll tell you this. I got a broken toilet, right?
Oh boy, this could be a long story.
No. It's a very short story. The chain broke that holds the plunger.
Yes.
So I just and it's old. I got to get a new one.
Yes.
But until then, I put a coat hanger on the plunger and took the top off. So you just pick it up like a rabbit out of a magician's hat, and the plunger comes up, the toilet works, and then you put it back down. And my wife says, now we got to get a new toilet. I go, why? It's working perfectly. It's absolutely perfect. Why would I?
Of course it is.
Why would I change anything?
Why would you ever get spoken like a true man?
Sure. Sure.
Well, our next guest, I have a feeling, is probably has a better way to fix it. I don't want you to be offended.
Maybe a different way, not better.
Evette Rios is with us, and she is a lifestyle expert.
Oh.
She is an interior decorator. She's a writer.
Wow.
And she is a TV host. And she's also been called the Latina Martha Stewart. And more importantly,
she hasn't done time, has she?
I don't think. Well,
haven't done time,
I guess we'll have to ask her.
Yeah, okay. All right, yeah. You got, yeah. I'm not saying you have to, but if you want to get to that status, sure.
No, it's true. It's true. It's on my bucket list.
All right.
It's great to see you. Happy New Year.
So great to be with you, too. Kim, I'm a huge fan of the show. And, Tony, I'm a new huge fan. So thank you both for having me.
It was the toilet thing that got you.
And I want to touch that shirt. I feel like it's so silky.
It's actually corduroy.
It's corduroy.
It's a fuchsia corduroy.
It's a brushed corduroy.
Oh,
if I had pants to match, I'd be the happiest man in the world.
Well, yeah, you probably would. Then that's a whole nother. That's another story we could share.
Yvette, I make you this promise, Yvette. If you come to Boston, you say periodically, yes.
Yeah.
Well, anytime you get a hold of Kim, she'll get a hold of me, and you can touch my shirt to your heart's content.
I love that. I love that. I feel like it
with
needs
or without me in it.
ASMR videos. We need the sound and the. It's
you
just
need
that kind of shirt.
Yes.
I have to tell you, I have been doing some stalking of Evette. And one of the things, and this is why actually I brought up the shirt to begin with, because one of the things that I love about your eye, your design eye, is you design with a lot of color. And there aren't a lot of designers who have the guts to do that. I love that about you. Tell me why. Yeah, tell me why you're so attached to color.
Well, I love like nature. I love flowers. Like I honestly, and as like a Puerto Rican, woman growing up, just traveling to different places in the Caribbean and color is such an important part of like life, it's like celebratory, it's vibrant, it gives us energy. We respond to color in all sorts of different ways. So I feel like I've always been I've become more comfortable because, as you say, like designers starting out, they tend to stay with the neutrals and the beiges and the. But I have grown to make myself very comfortable with designing with color. So thank you for noticing.
Yeah, absolutely. It really has stood out to me. Something else that stands out is your resume. Tony, you should see her resume. This woman, who is far too young to have so many things on her resume, I have to tell you, has been a part of so many television shows. She has written books. She's part of a Latina magazine. She at one point, and I don't think anymore, but you were the spokesperson for Goodwill.
Yes, which was one of my dream jobs. It was wonderful. Yeah.
Tell us why. Tell me a little bit about that. How did you get involved with that?
So, one of the things so I grew up very, like working class family. We lived in the projects in Brooklyn, New York. And, my parents were like always repurposing, reusing. I think it's a very immigrant, type of way to exist in the world. It wasn't necessarily that they were like eco-friendly per se, but it was just this idea of like, use what you have, and so I always we were always shopping at thrift stores and always, shopping at Goodwill. So I was incorporating a lot of reuse stuff in my like segments on different TV shows naturally because it's like my DNA. And Goodwill approached me and said, "Hey, we noticed you that on the Today Show you mentioned Goodwill and you used a lot of stuff from from Goodwill stores in New York and New Jersey. Would you want to have a conversation with us?" And I did, and they were like, "We really would love to have a spokesperson to represent the Goodwill Industries International, which is like the big parent company." So I did that for several years, and it was really, really an amazing job.
Can I? How do you get started doing what you do? I mean, I just heard your resume or part of it, and I got to be honest with you, I had a hard time taking a shower today and putting on this pink shirt. That's like a day I will have to take to the bed for the rest of the afternoon after this. How do you get started? Being this whirlwind.
Well, I think the thing is you've got to find, and I talk to young people about this all the time, right? Because I have nieces and now I have kids of my own. And you really need to find that thing that makes you like fired up. You almost want to like be physically aroused by what you do for work. And I mean that in the most like PG sense of the
Why
like,
make it a little dirty? Go ahead.
He's a comedian. He'll take it.
Get it to the edge, Evette. Come on, live.
Hey, I could tell from the shirt that you were willing to go there. But, no, I feel like I want to, I think you have to look beyond, what is the sensible choice in your career and what makes, is the lowest hanging fruit, and try to find those things that really get you excited, because ultimately that's going to fuel you, forever, really. So I think that I was lucky to find that. And I guess that's what made the difference for me. And you find the energy when you're doing what you love.
Yeah, that's right.
But I guess that leap from you say you grew up in the projects in New York City, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I mean, one of 8 million people just walking around that place. How do you break out? How do you make that first step?
I think, okay, so first of all, I have to say my parents were these kind of parents that were like, you cannot, be hanging out on the streets with these people because, you like, this is riffraff and you will get yourself into trouble. So that's to start is I was kind of like that kid that sat in the window watching all the other kids play in the summertime, So, and that's not necessarily something that I'm like proud of, but I do think my parents always, made it clear to me that I was meant to, do better things, that I was more than my surroundings, that I had more potential, and they always pushed, education and experiences and just about opening opportunities. So I think it is way easier when you have parents, right, that are these kinds of people, that are able to look beyond their circumstances. So I credit them, number one. And then number two, I just feel like I found what I really wanted to do early on. So I think that helped me as well,
But that is
but yeah, it's not
graduate.
easy. It's not easy, and I think about it all the time. Like I'm sometimes in these parties, and you guys, I'm sure, have this experience around all these like really fancy people that are super intimidating, and they have more money and they're more well-bred and everything. And I'm just like, I feel like a little bit of an imposter sometimes. So I guess it never leaves you.
Yeah, but you're not. I just said to Tony, you're a Bates graduate. You went on to Harvard. I mean, you've got a pedigree that, and then you've proven it, obviously, with the incredible things that you have been able to accomplish and do. We were talking before we got on the air. I was telling Tony about the fact that you have been sort of at the right hand of Rachel Ray for a lot of years, which is very fun, right?
Oh my gosh, she is incredible. And, I spent, I was with her from her first season on her show. And we worked together. We still, work together periodically, but she is a force of nature. She's incredible. The energy level that she has, the drive that she has, she is always kind of like in the zone as far as like doing what she was like put on this earth to do. And it's funny, people like when I work with her, people are like, oh my God, I wish I had like Rachel Ray's money and I wish I could do all the things that she does. And it's like, you need to be willing to do what she has to do in order to have that outcome. Right, and the reality is most people aren't. She's an extremely hardworking person. She's
somebody I think who's brought a lot of people in your line of work or in lifestyle. She's brought them along. And I think that's something that's really admirable about her. Hey, let's change gears just a second because you have a big time tie to our area here. Right now, I know you're in Philadelphia. You live in New York a lot, but you have a big tie here. And that is this old house has turned into a whole new, it's a new This Old House.
It's a new This Old House.
Yeah, absolutely. Tell everybody about this project because I think this is really cool.
I grew up like watching PBS. This is part of the get out of the projects plan that my parents had. So it was PBS. At the time you had like 4 stations, right? There was no anything. So we would have PBS on all the time, all of the really difficult to understand British crime shows and Sesame Street and all the things.
And Sesame Street.
And Sesame Street, sure, of course.
That was the part that was hard for me to understand. Sesame Street.
I didn't. They were talking to birds.
Right. 5 plus 2. What do you mean?
What are you talking about?
I'm sorry. We digress. But
are you seeing a giant yellow bird? Yeah, we're all seeing a giant yellow bird. Yes, of course.
But on there is where you had your first exposure to This Old House.
Yeah. So This Old House. I mean, I grew up with like Bob Vila and Norm Abrams, and like they were a part of our house, you know? And again, like this kind of like, you know, immigrant mentality where it's like we want to strive and have better and do more. And so my dad was always learning to repair things that, you know, parts of houses that we didn't have. And so I grew up watching it, and I just thought, man, you know, these people are just so great. They're just imparting so much knowledge. They know all the things. They've got every tool. And I always looked up to them. And recently they launched a Spanish language version of the show, and I'm the host of it. So yeah, I'm in Concord, New Hampshire quite a bit.
Nice.
Massachusetts. Not New Hampshire.
Yeah. Don't get those two confused. There's a big beef. There's a big beef. You're going to start that turf war up again, and we don't need it. We went through it once with the revolutionary thing, and we don't need the headaches again, Evette. Please. Now, are they new episodes, or
are you repurposing?
Are you repurposing, or both?
That would actually be hilarious if I was just like dubbing Bob Vila.
Yeah, that'd be hysterical.
Actually, we're totally recording new episodes.
Oh, that's great. So so the franchise continues,
right?
With Spanish language.
Absolutely. Well, they're still doing the standard This Old House and Ask This Old House. So they're continuing to do that, but now they've added this kind of Spanish language arm, which is very cool because, you know, there are so many like Latino homeowners, and, you know, if you get something repaired in your home, chances are there's going to be a Spanish speaking person doing the work, you know, so it makes sense to talk to these, you know, these craftsmen and show their skill and just kind of highlight what it is that they do, which is very cool.
It's really cool.
Well, if you ever need this old man in this old house, you come look me up and you can touch the shirt.
Well, I'll start with that toilet.
I was just
if I was your wife, I mean, you have to have the lid off for that, or did you kind of jimmy it in? So
no, the lid's off.
The lid's off.
But I put plants around it to, you know,
I know.
to take away.
It's horrible. It's horrible.
Yeah.
But you know what? He repurposed the coat hanger.
Yeah.
So that I guess maybe.
But it works perfectly fine. You don't understand. It just.
Please. I know.
Yeah.
I've used keychains for that. You know, the little loop on the keychain when the thing breaks.
Of course.
Used that.
Oh.
I've used jewelry. So I understand. But you can get a kit that includes all you need and replace it in like 20 minutes.
And put the lid back on.
Exactly. You could wash your face. That was kind of nice, though. You could kind of splash your.
It's clean water. It's clean water in the tank. She's absolutely right.
I'm standing up for your wife.
No, I like the way she thinks.
Yvette, where can we see that show, by the way? Tell us where everybody can see that.
So This Old House and all of the episodes were actually purchased by Roku. So now they live on Roku's streaming platform and online on YouTube and things like that. So, you can see it all on your Roku device or, you know, on the website, which is actually on the This Old House website. There is a link, and our show is called Dime Cómo Hacerlo, which means show me how to do it. And it basically is our reboot.
Fantastic. Congratulations. One final question from me, and that is this. What's the biggest trend for 2025? Give me one thing. What do I need to know?
Okay. So, you know, really moody, vibe-filled spaces. Everybody, you know, you really want, you want things in your home to give you a feeling. And I think for a while, the feeling that we wanted to give off is like, no one lives here. So everybody wanted their homes to look like they were like, you know, a show house or like a model home where you had no one living there. And now we really want to have our homes reflect like what it is that we're into. Or do we love books? Do we love, you know, puzzles? Do we love quilting? Like whatever it is, like just really like lean into that and, you know, hang those quilts on the wall, paint your room dark, and just kind of like let it be a vibe.
Cool.
Wow.
My house speaks to exactly the way I want it to. Don't come in.
Yeah. Yeah. My house speaks to laundry needs being done.
right. We need help.
Always.
We need help.
Yes.
Evette, you're a doll. Thank you so
much fun. So much fun.
You guys.
Yeah. Have a great 2025. When you're back here in the area, please let us know, okay?
Oh my
so you can
gosh, I
stop
would
by.
love that.
Okay.
That would be a dream.
It's
I
a
will.
deal.
Absolutely.
We'll do it.
1000%.
Evette Rios, thank you so much. This
Thank you.
is Carrigan and Company. It's the most wonderful time of the year. You want to know why? Because it's Lucia Lighting and Design's annual Red Tag Sale. Head to Lucia Lighting and Design at 311 Western Avenue in Lynn before the end of January for the best deals of the year. Lucia has hundreds of items with red sale tags on them, and that means 50% off. These are one-of-a-kind display pieces that you won't want to miss. Don't wait. Get to Lucia Lighting and Design before the end of January for their annual Red Tag Sale. Learn more about my favorite lighting design store at lucialighting.com.
If you like rum, you're going to love Rumson's Rum, New England's most award-winning rum brand. Rumson creates distinctive and savory flavor profiles by hand-selecting and marrying the finest barrel-aged Caribbean rums. The spirits are then blended and finished in the New England Rum House. Choose from Rumson's Gold, Spice, Grand Reserve, or Coffee Rum, which is smooth and sweet with a warm roasted coffee flavor, a hint of vanilla, and a decadent buttery finish. Find Rumson's at liquor stores or ask for it at your favorite restaurant. Learn more at rumsons.com. That's rumsons.com. Rumsons. Life lived, life enjoyed.
Welcome back, everybody, to Carrigan and Company. It's so great to have you for this episode, our first of 2025. And keeping me company today, one and only Tony V. And we have been having a good time, huh?
We have been having a ball.
This is fun, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
I didn't know what I was expecting, but it wasn't this.
Well, I hope
and
it's
so
been
I'm
fun.
pleasantly surprised.
Well,
Yeah.
it's
not
been a lot of
surprised,
fun.
but it's just been easy.
Yeah,
so.
it certainly is.
Yeah.
And you were kind enough
Yes.
to make a few suggestions about who you'd like to interview.
Yes.
And why don't you introduce our
And
next guest?
Our guest, the guy we ended up with, was in the top 30 of
Yeah.
the people.
28, and
20, it was like
right.
28, 29, somewhere around there. And I actually the first one to say yes. And no, it's
And only.
my good friend and longtime friend John Tobin of John Tobin Presents and Laugh Boston,
Right.
former city councilor. Right? Can I say that?
Yeah, reformed.
Reformed city councilor. Yeah. He saw it was coming and got out.
Absolutely.
John, it's
Yeah.
so funny because Tony suggested you, and he was talking to us about you being in the comedy world, and so I thought, wow, I don't know, I just have never met John. Then I started looking at who was coming, and I said, oh my goodness gracious,
I know
have-
this guy.
Yeah, we were saying before, Kim, you've interviewed me a million times. You've always been so kind to me. I know you're not from Boston originally, but you're part of the fabric of the city, so it's,
Well, thank
it's
you.
a real big honor to be on with
Now,
you. And with
thank you
Tony.
very much. And Tony, from now on, I'd like for you to refer to me as fabric, not legend, not any of those other
No,
terms.
no.
It's
Yeah,
fabric
legend is
of the
crypt.
community.
Sure, like the tapestry, like your tapestry. Yeah,
Right,
sure, that's
right.
fine.
It's great to
I can
have
do
you on.
that.
Thanks for
It's nice
coming
to be
in.
here. Thanks for having
Yeah, and I first bumped into John. He used to work the door
For Dick Doherty.
who ran clubs around here forever. And, John would be the guy who gave people rides and set up the room and took tickets. And now he's like an entrepreneur.
Right, exactly. So let's back up for just a second, if we could, because I do really want people to appreciate where you've come from. I mean, you did that as a job because you like to be around comedy, right? And you
Yeah,
just
I
thought it
would've-
was
I
great
would've done it
fun.
for free.
Yeah, absolutely. So how do you go from the guy who's taking the tickets and setting up the room, and obviously getting to know guys like Tony V, to a person who now, you represent these guys, you promote them?
I just think it's like I tell my kids, it's like what Bill Belichick has always said, the best ability is availability. And if you're just around, and the comedy community is, when you think about it in totality in the country, is really small. When you factor in the comedians, the bookers, the managers, the club owners, it's not that big of a universe.
Yeah.
So I think if you're around, if you try not to be a pain in the neck, and I think you genuinely have to love comedy, though. I think people can see it in your eyes and how you operate. Is you got to really love. You can smell them a mile away. The people
Yeah,
who
you
aren't
gotta
necessarily
have
who
that-
don't love it, who
you-
don't have a passion for it.
Yeah, you got to have the heart for it. It's not for everybody. I mean, the hours are good.
Yeah, sure they
But
are.
other than that, it's a big pain in the neck, and you have to have it in you somewhere to tolerate the foolishness we put up with.
Well, tell me about that. And because, I mean, you do have to tolerate these men and women who have all kinds of personalities.
Yeah, I mean, they're the most unique creatures who walk on Earth. Comedians, they're
not funny all the time, by the way, right?
No, and that's fine because they're focused, and it's on stage is where they operate. There's very few comedians you'll see who always want to be off stage. They're very contemplative. They observe a lot. They listen a lot. Anything could be a bit. Their next bit, whether it's a car ride in silence or anything. So they're not always on, and so, but they're different species of people. They're just wired differently than a lot of us
there's
are.
something. Our heads are. We're not right. You can say it. We're not right.
No, I don't think that's true.
There's a chip missing somewhere.
I will tell you what. My observation is that comedians are very smart. These are very smart people because, like you just said, they're contemplative. They observe.
Well, Tony's a perfect example of that. He does the dumb guy thing on stage. At various points in your act.
Sure.
Brian Regan does this. The dumb guy thing, but two of the smartest people I know and that I've met because they're always watching. They're observing, and like I said, and just listening and taking everything in. And I think they translate that, and then they put their spin on the world through their eyes and how they see things, and it's their
It really
point of
is
view.
observing and being open to possibilities is the way we do things. I mean, anybody I enjoy listening to is that way. So
I find that a lot of comedians I've met in person are somewhat shy.
I just had this conversation with somebody the other day. I can talk. I worked I opened for Bill Burr at Fenway Park, and I had no problem talking to 36,000 people. But if you put me at a party with one person, I go I go all humana on them because it's just a quirk that we have that that this actually might mean something. The other thing is just me doing my job.
You're also in control, right?
Yes,
That's your job.
that's my job.
I'll be with a group of friends and introduce a comedian to them, and they'll say, "He's a comedian?" I'm like, yeah. I'm like, what does he do for a day job? And so they weren't impressive in the conversation. I said, well, it doesn't mean they always have to be on. And,
Right.
We've had this conversation, you and I, John, before, that I know, a dozen people funnier than me in my everyday life. They just can't be a comedian.
Right. Two completely different schools.
Yeah.
And I know Tony jokes that the hours are good, but there is a discipline to being a comedian and to becoming a really good one and an accomplished one. It's you might be only on stage for 45 minutes or an hour, but it's the writing, it's the observing, it's the fine tuning, it's the honing the act, it's going into the open mics and humbling yourself, and it's the long rides. Not everything is a hop, skip, and a jump down the street.
I like
how many trips to Bangor Mange you take?
I call us long haul truckers with really light loads. That's really all we are. I've said this one before too. I don't know if you've ever heard me, but this is how you could tell you're in the twilight of a mediocre career, where someone will say to you, "Hey, do you want to work the Sons of Italy Hall in Skowhegan, Maine?" And you go, "No, that'd be fine. Those people need to be entertained." Sure. That's not the problem. Here's where it cuts to be a problem. They go, "Do you need the address?" You go, "No, I've been there a lot."
Yeah, a lot.
Yeah,
I have a parking spot out front.
I can beat the GPS there. It's fine. But that's what we do. We just drive someplace.
Yeah.
And to John's credit, he's lessening that a little bit.
Right,
which
with
is
so
part
many
of the
clubs
thing. He's got Laugh Boston over in the Seaport. They have the Off Cabot up in Beverly. Yep. They just opened the Little Chuck, which is in the where the Comedy Connection was originally.
Yes.
And the
Sheer Madness.
Charles Playhouse, where
Yes.
Sheer Madness was, in that very room.
Wow,
Yeah,
awesome. That's
yeah.
fantastic.
That's brand new, so they're trying to launch that.
Yeah.
So
you've got spots across the country, in fact, that you guys are involved with.
I think live entertainment, there's nothing like it. And, as a product of the city and someone who's grown up every day of my life in the city, just the media people, before the comedians were kind of like my best friends, even though I didn't know them. I have autograph books with people from channels 4, 5, and 7. In books, I used to listen to Jess Kane in the morning on WHDH radio, and just they were the celebrities in this town before
Sure.
Matt Damon and Ben Affleck and Mark Wahlberg ever came on the scene. And so they kind of ran the town, even more so than the athletes in a lot of ways.
Oh yeah.
But then that quickly, the first time I saw live comedy was at Nick's Comedy Stop in 1986. And I had watched comedy on TV. I'd never seen anything like that in my life. I mean, my two of my friends to this day, we walked out back to the parking garage like we didn't know what just happened to us. It changed our life, and then the media started covering the comedy clubs.
Yeah, they had
in the
permanent.
mid-'80s,
Yeah,
and then the media people became friends with the comedians.
Yeah,
Sure.
yeah.
And they became like this power group, and
Yeah.
it just it took off from
Yeah,
there.
it went from the music people covering comedy to comedy having its own
A dedicated comedy writer.
Right. Sure.
Yeah.
So, that's one of the things that, looking back at the history, because Boston's a great comedy city.
Yeah.
It really is. And I mean,
Yeah,
we
still is.
look at what it's produced, and it's incredible, which I think is a product of a lot of support in the community. So what happened, though? Because you just named it. The 80s were so strong, and there were a lot of clubs, and really came. Then it sort of trailed off just a bit, and it feels like to me, again, it has become really strong again. Do you see it that way? Do you guys see it that way?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's leveled off some. I mean, here's the thing: when I first started deciding to try stand up, people really, my family wanted to have me committed. You know what I mean? They go, "That's not a job. You don't." Nobody.
You've got an
does.
education. What are you doing?
Yeah, that's for the people on the Ed Sullivan Show. That's not from a kid from Somerville. You can't do stand-up comedy. And then, I found my group. I found people. And I go, oh my God, I'm not the only one who thinks this way. And so it fostered its own kind of stand-up.
Yep.
We in Boston started a thing that wasn't being done anywhere, where it was very local. And it was very about the people and not just, two guys go into a bar or whatever it is.
Sure.
It became very specific to us. And that's what launched that. And then that propelled us for a long time.
Sure.
And then it blew up. And now I can't go anywhere where someone goes, oh yeah, my nephew's a comedian, or my daughter's trying to be a comedian, or
Short of jumping out of an airplane, it's second on everybody's bucket list to do comedy.
And there's no criteria for it. That's the thing that I love.
Well, I think there is criteria. You need to be funny.
Well, not really. You would think that, Kim. You would actually think that would be part of the criteria. But how many times have you seen an interview where people go, "Well, I'm a plumber, I'm a mass murderer, a comedian, and I wallpaper on the side." You go, "Okay, I guess you can do all of those." Yeah.
But I think the comedians, when they started, the Boston comics, when they started in the late 70s and early 80s here, I think they captured the mood of what was going on in the city in a lot of ways. Taxes were high, gas prices were crazy. You had to wait 3 hours in line for the Red Sox stunk, the Patriots stunk, the
Everything
Bruins
stunk.
The Celtics had some championships in the 80s, but the Celtics weren't the team of Boston back then.
No.
It was more
Boston
the Red
was known
Sox.
nationwide for what was going on in the streets.
Yeah,
there was a lot of that.
there was a
going
lot
on.
of-
busing and
absolutely.
We were just 10
Yeah.
years, not even 10 years off the heels of busing, and then just some other traumatic cases that happened in the city in the 80s. So the comedians really channeled that and channeled that kind of anger and kind of try to make something positive on stage to get people to relate to it, because everybody could relate to it, and everybody was from big families here, and to be heard at your dinner table, you had to with your turn to speak, you better have something interesting to say.
You had to be loud and you had to make a point.
Yeah.
And we sort of tried to.
It was
break
the
through
perfect recipe.
Yeah, it was. It was like the perfect storm for.
But I think, Tony, don't you
idiocy.
think like if in the early '80s, when you started, that if some kid walked in and said, "This is going to be my career," you'd probably punch him in the face.
Of course,
it wasn't a career.
It wasn't a career. It wasn't until people started. I think Stephen Wright did the Tonight Show first. We were just happy to be on stage telling jokes and driving to Framingham to do a show, or Worcester, or Concord, New Hampshire, or wherever they would have us. And did
you guys make any money? Did you?
We were making tons of money.
Were you?
Yeah, but a lot of it went not to the rent.
I get it. That goes back to our conversation at the beginning of
earlier.
the show.
Yeah, Caligula's
exactly.
birthday party. Yeah, it was like that every night. And then some of us got wise and went, geez, maybe we ought to buy a house or something.
Yeah.
Right.
This may not last forever.
Yeah, so and it was a cash business back then. Colleges were big. There was like a mushroom cloud of that. You can do this. This can happen.
You bet.
And then like everything else, it sort of levels off.
But then when it became clear that it could become a career or something else, you had this migration out of Boston by certain, Nick DiPaolo and David Cross, like in the late '80s, before '90s. So there was. You're right, Kim. There was Bill Burr. Bill started in '92. Rogan left a little bit later than that. But there was like a 3 or 4 year period, kind of. When I got involved in it, there was a little bit of a down. It was a little bit of a lag there because so much talent had left
the city,
and we weren't growing new talent.
Well, no, we weren't, and part of that was the old guard.
You bet.
Anytime someone would ask us our opinion, we'd go like, "Look, we got this locked up. You should go somewhere else."
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because you're not going to grow any further than you are here.
Well, if you were a young comic back in the day, you didn't open up for Tony or for Don Gavin or for Lenny or for the legends of the city. You followed them, so they go up and destroy the room, light it on fire, and then you'd have to go up with your
with your fire. Right, exactly.
We used to do that to
heckle them.
Right.
We used to do that to national acts. Like people would bring in like Richard Lewis and Howie Mandel,
Colin
Quinn, and then they'd put on Kenny Rogerson, Steve Sweeney, Lenny Clark, Tony. We'd all go on before them and just burn the place down, and people would. They'd be weeping on stage because
I bet.
we just made it impossible, and we wore that like a badge for right or wrong.
It'd be like LeBron James playing for the Celtics for one game.
Yeah,
right. We're gonna run him off the court back and out of here.
Right. Go back where you came from.
Right.
This is our town, buddy.
Right.
But that's the working class mentality we had.
Well, listen, it's been good.
Yeah,
it's been good. I got
no
good.
complaints.
Me
absolutely.
neither.
No. I think it's what really makes the comedy world here in Boston so unique and so special because you guys,
Yeah, well,
I told you were a boss. You were a founding father.
I'm a legend, Kim.
You are a legend.
Right. Some people say I don't even exist. I just appear in the mist.
You guys, this is so fun. Thank you so much, John. It was great to see you.
Yeah, you as well.
Continued success.
Thanks
wow.
for the invite. I appreciate it.
I'm so proud of you dealing with all these knuckleheads.
I couldn't think of anything better that's made my life so much better, meeting people from all kinds of backgrounds and that I otherwise wouldn't have met. It's like I parachuted into my radio, into my TV, and I'm living the dream.
Good for you. There you go. Well, I hope 2025 brings great things.
Thank you so
much. And I know it continued great things. You're not leaving yet. I've got one more segment.
We got another segment.
Yeah, whether you like it or not. Let's pay the bills real quick, and then
you're a slave driver.
No.
More than you worked in years.
Oh my God!
This is Carrigan and Company. The holiday season may be behind us, but when you look in the mirror, do you still see some lasting effects? Well, I've got the answer. A hydrofacial at Sienna Aesthetics Medical Spa in Beverly. These relaxing, fabulous facials include deep cleansing, exfoliation, and hydration. You'll notice instant results. And my friends at Sienna are offering hydrofacial packages that include awesome savings and will put you on the path of radiant and hydrated skin. Schedule 2 facials and get the third half off. Start the new year with a fresh glow. That's SiennaAesthetics.com. This segment of Carrigan and Company is brought to you by Sienna Aesthetics Medical Spa. Take years off your face with the very latest technologies at Sienna Aesthetics in Beverly. All right, folks, it's that time of Carrigan and Company when we wrap things up. Tony V has been keeping me company today, which has been this has really been a good, fun show. And I've learned a lot today, actually.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I don't want to ever be accused of teaching anybody anything. No, but it's very informative and a lot of fun.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The only thing I think that was said that was a little off color was when you said, I didn't know what to expect. And I was like, really? Come on. You knew we'd have fun.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, but I don't know. Sometimes when you do interviews like this, they want to get into the mind of a comedian, and I hate that.
Yeah.
We don't have a mind.
Well,
it's not,
I think you can get a little bit into the mind, then you have to get out. Because then I get frightened. And
it's a dark place. And when I'm not thinking, I grow mushrooms up there. That's how dark it is.
Hey, we do this thing each week with our co-hosts, and it's called the College Hype Fast 5.
Okay.
It's 5 questions we'd like for you to answer rapid. Only 30 seconds to answer all 5. College Hype, making a difference one T-shirt at a time. Visit collegehype.com today. Are you ready, my friend?
I no, but go ahead.
I think you're ready. 3, 2, and 1. What's the best gift you received for Christmas?
Skechers slip-ons.
Because you're not bending over.
I'm not bending over anymore.
And so that was the next question.
Yeah.
What's your New Year's resolution?
Well, that and not smell like fried food. That's my overarching.
That sounds like
I almost made it last year, but in May I found a clam in my pocket. It's not.
That's a gift to others, it sounds like to me. Favorite Boston restaurant?
Oh, Vinny's in Somerville.
Okay. And if you could go back and pick one of the actresses that you worked with in the movie The Heat, which one would it be? Sandra Bullock or Melissa McCarthy?
To do what with?
Well, I guess we'll leave that up to you.
I had so much fun with Melissa McCarthy. Hands down, it would be her. She is such a gift.
And she is a superstar.
Yeah. And she was so fun to work with.
Who's your favorite professional athlete?
Oh, my God. I'm going to say Bobby Orr.
Bobby Orr.
Retired okay?
I think that's perfectly fine.
Okay. Because I'm staring right at his statue.
Yeah. Here's a bonus question.
Go ahead.
What's your favorite professional team?
I'm a Red Sox.
Are you?
Yeah, Red Sox diehard.
So what do you think?
I hope they come to their senses. And I like listening to the Red Sox on the radio, like real old timey.
Yeah.
I think this could be their year.
I hope so, because you know what? This city is electric when the teams are doing well.
Yeah.
I mean, last year, was there anything more fun than that basketball? I mean,
no, that was amazing.
We sat right here, by the way, at the Garden as that was all going on, and just watched all of it, and it was awesome.
Yeah.
But there's something about, summertime and the fall, and then a win.
The thing that it goes from March, all the way up into could go close to November is just the best.
It is the best.
So
let's go Red Sox.
Yeah.
And by the way, this is from our friends at College Hype.
Oh man!
Thank you very much, sir, for being a part of it.
Hey,
They're
it's my
good
color
folks.
too. I could wear this.
I know. Well, I don't know if I'm going to suggest that, but you can definitely wear
too much.
Well, Are you colorblind?
Does it come with a volume knob?
Right. Tony V. Anything you want to promote? What's going on?
No,
we see you?
Just comedy in general.
Yeah.
I know we just had John Tobin in here, but this weekend I will be up at Giggles on Route 1 southbound.
No, we don't say that in front of John. Right?
Yeah, no. He runs great clubs, but I'm at this one.
Yeah.
This week, which is basically my home, and it's a great place.
Yeah, terrific. Well, listen, continued success. Thank you so much.
This was so much fun, so easy. Thank you very much for thinking of me. It was a pleasure.
I'm glad you were here. And we're glad all of you were here as well. Be sure that you check all of the episodes out on YouTube, or you can listen to them wherever you get your podcasts. Have a great week, everybody, and join us next week right here on Carrigan and Company. Thanks, everybody, for listening to Carrigan and Company. To find out who will keep me company and be my co-host on the next episode, be sure you follow us on Instagram, Facebook, X, and TikTok. Carrigan and Company is recorded at the Big Night Studios at the TD Garden in Boston. You can view the podcast on YouTube and listen to it wherever you get your podcasts. Be sure you tell a friend. The executive producer of Carrigan and Company is David Thompson. Our engineer is Peter Hurley, and our social media managers are Grace Carrigan, Colby Thompson, and Riley Thompson. See you next time.